Central Washington's news leader. This is KIMA NewsBeat at 11.
Good evening. President Reagan held his 42nd press conference tonight. In a prepared statement, the president said that progress continues to be made in arms control talks with the Soviet Union. Reagan also said that countries in the Middle East should discard old ideas and strive for peace. Reagan called once again for aid to the Contras, saying the Soviet Union has stepped up its support for the Sandinista government in the first few months of this year. Reagan also said if GOP presidential candidate Pat Robertson knew where any American hostages were, he kept it to himself.
It'd be very strange if he actually did have information as to the location of those hostages. Isn't it strange that no one in our administration was ever apprised of that?
Reagan also confirmed tonight that George Bush did have reservations about the arms sales to Iran, and he promised good economic news would be announced in the morning. Democratic presidential candidate Paul Simon, who suffered defeats in Iowa, New Hampshire, South Dakota, and Minnesota, announced today he will skip the Super Tuesday contest. At a news conference today in Washington, D.C., Simon told reporters there was no sense in fooling himself. He doesn't have enough money to mount a campaign in the 20 Super Tuesday states. The senator vows to resume the campaign when his home state of Illinois holds a primary on March 15th. The Supreme Court today overturned a $200,000 emotional distress award TV evangelist Jerry Falwell has down from Hustler magazine publisher Larry Flint. Falwell had won the damage suit in a lower court because of a Hustler magazine parody about the TV evangelist. The court says the ad parody, which portrayed Falwell as a drunkard who had sex with his mother in an outhouse, is protected under the First Amendment. Flint told reporters today the decision is a victory for everyone. Today's decision by the High Court extends the legal protection for parody and satire, ruling that even pornographic satire deserves freedom of speech protection. Washington State Governor Booth Gardner is back in the state capitol tonight after spending most of the day looking for support in Washington, D.C. for the loss of the Hanford reactor facility. While he failed to win guarantees of replacement work for those being laid off at Hanford, Gardner did get administration promises to help ease the pain of those in-reactor workers. Having just met with Labor Secretary Ann McLaughlin, Gardner arrived at the Energy Department this morning to meet with Secretary John Harrington. Afterwards, Gardner said both secretaries pledged to provide the people of the Tri-Cities with whatever help they can.
I've been looking for any replacement activities we can find for that particular area. One. Two, I've been looking for funding for those replacement activities, and I think that we're making progress on that because most funding has to come from the federal level. And finally, I'm looking for a coordinated response to these efforts.
Gardner expects to win formal federal commitment for funding programs to help in-reactor workers to find new jobs and relocate. Okanogan County Prosecutor Jack Butchard says a 23-year-old Omak man is being held in the county jail for investigation of first-degree arson. Adrian Julius Howe was arrested today in connection with the investigation of 6 arson fires in Omak that began back in December. Butchard would not release any additional information about the case. He says details will be available tomorrow at a press conference before Howe is to appear in court. Fire officials had determined that arson was the cause of half a dozen fires at forced closures of a Omak grade school and several churches in the area. An overflow standing room only crowd jammed into an Olympia hearing room. They were primarily Christian fundamentalists, asking the legislature to remove their school from any state support, as we learn in this report.
Students from Seattle's Shorecrest Baptist Church School were getting an education in Olympia, learning firsthand about the separation of state and religion, about the part in the state constitution that says it's the state's paramount duty to educate its children, and the conflict that creates with the First Amendment freedom of religion provisions of the U.S. Constitution. Pastor Tom Minnick wants his church school and others like his to be exempted from any control by the state.
The Bible demands that Jesus Christ be the head of all things to the church. State regulation surrenders that authority to the State Board of Education, and we simply cannot surrender a ministry of the Church of Jesus Christ to state regulation.
State School Superintendent Buster Brulette says the Christian school advocates are well-meaning and well-intended, but
for the state to say an institution called a church can set up a school, defined as a school, and whatever they say, we're going to close our eyes and say that's an approved school. It seems to me that is not good public policy.
Conservative Republican Senator Ellen Craswell, sponsor of the bill, says religious education is a guaranteed right.
To allow the state to govern that integral and inseparable part of their ministry is to say that the state can govern any part of their ministry, which of course is unconstitutional under the First Amendment rights.
Those students from Shorecrest Baptist Church School also learned the realities of the political process. The bill was killed by the committee 14-3. They know, too, their school will continue to operate as it always has, outside the laws of the state of Washington. And prosecutors will continue an informal tolerance policy and allow the schools to operate until the conflict between the two constitutions is resolved.
The Yakima County Health Board unanimously agreed today to begin distributing bleaching supplies to intravenous drug users so they can clean their needles. Sharing dirty drug needles is one way AIDS can be contracted. But the Bleach and Teach program, as it's called, will not be implemented unless legislators agree this session that the practice is legal for local health departments. NewsBeat's Colleen Bagnell has the details.
The health department staff would distribute bottles of bleach to IV drug users with instructions on how to clean their drug needles. Health board members were extremely concerned about the legal liability of the county if an addict should accidentally inject bleach into his body.
What we believe is that our instructions will be good enough that that's very unlikely. That's been the experience in San Francisco. Three, no matter how we intervene with anybody, if they have an event that they don't like, they may choose to sue us.
Atwood added that the Bleach and Teach program would be legally defensible. This particular program has been successful in San Francisco, where public health experts say it is largely responsible for controlling the spread of AIDS among the IV drug population.
I think you know that's all baloney. It's a quick fix. It's a thing that maybe is going to stop it just a little bit.
Merle Wareheim, founder of a local anti-drug group, said he would rather see the money spent on additional treatment facilities for drug addicts. The bleaching kits would cost the county 25 cents each. Board members today also expressed caution with the new program.
But I'm very concerned that the vial can give a signal that it says, we don't know how to handle it, so at least we can do is give you something to keep a clean needle. I really think that that could be misread by the young people.
The board okayed the Bleach and Teach program on the condition legislation passes in the Senate, making the program legal. Currently, it is against the law to distribute such so-called drug paraphernalia to addicts. If the AIDS amendment does not pass, the board agreed to implement only those segments of the program that are legal. I'm Colleen Bagnell reporting for NewsBeat.
About 30 parents and educators from around the Lower Valley gathered this evening to admit their community has a drug problem. And although that sounds simple, admitting the problem is a big step. In the past, when groups met to talk about drug and alcohol abuse, much of the discussion centered around finger-pointing. Who was at fault and who should be responsible? But participants here just want to know how to deal with the problem and how to help someone they feel might need some support. Organizers say this kind of grassroots support system might make a considerable dent in the problem.
I think that we have to get away from the excuse that nope, it can't be, my relative, it can't be my son, it can't be my daughter. We have to pinpoint, exactly that it could happen to anybody.
Officials hope these people will become role models in the community and will be able to encourage others to get involved in the fight against drugs. Keith joins us now with a look at sports. We've got basketball action coming up.
That's right, a very good game between the Trailblazers and the Celtics, and a big honor for Kansas's Danny Manning. We'll tell you about both of them in just a bit.
You bought a mobile home?
Today's manufactured home.
You bought a house!
Factory-built quality at a price that makes sense.
We have 3 big bedrooms. Oh, wow. I love it. It's a manufactured home.
Today's manufactured home.
You bought a house.
Built for living, built for life.
23 million suffer muscular back pain.
I just get that tightening feeling as if someone's tightening up my lower back.
Dones relieves minor back pain for hours. Its special ingredient is found in no other leading analgesic. Now get extra strength relief with new extra strength Dones.
Fresh vegetables. There's nothing more natural, and there's nothing more natural than this. Unlike some other cheese products, it's got no artificial ingredients, no preservatives. It's 100% natural craft cheese. Now, how you gonna beat that?
Winter weather and sports. Fun, but they can damage your hair and skin. At the Gazebo, you'll find the finest products to revitalize tired hair and a talented staff to design the perfect look with a difference for you. Add a little sunshine with highlights or color to see you through to spring. Or perhaps right this minute makeup changes with the help of their makeup artist. All at the Gazebo, Yakima's #1 salon. Call today for an appointment.
Well, the Celtics tonight notched their second victory over the Portland Trailblazers in 6 days, but tonight's game went right down to the wire. Here the Blazers get a fast break opportunity, and Clyde Drexler rolls it in. He had 36 on the night, but Larry Bird scored 16 of his 44 in the fourth quarter to spark Boston to the win. The Celtics overcame a 100-88 deficit with 8 minutes to play, but Portland still had the last shot. Trailing by 1, the ball just wouldn't go. The final, Boston 113, Portland 112. In other action, Jack Sikma scored 27 as the Bucks slipped past Indiana, and it was Sam Perkins who hit the bucket with 27 seconds left to put Dallas on top of Cleveland. Philadelphia lost by 2 points to San Antonio in overtime, and it was Denver beating the Utah Jazz by 3, and Detroit easily beat Golden State 107-93. Well, in college ball, the fourth-ranked Oklahoma Sooners powered past the Kansas Jayhawks. Here the Sooners work a little backdoor action for an easy 2. Oklahoma was just too quick and too strong as they convert the steal into score. The bright spot for Kansas, though, Danny Manning scored 30 points for the Jayhawks and became the Big 8's all-time leading scorer with 2,665 points. He passes Wayman Tisdale for that honor, but Oklahoma grabs the win. The score 95-87. Taking a look at other games, Duke losing to North Carolina State in a big upset. It was Iowa easily over Northwestern, and Colorado also upsetting Missouri. Auburn beating number 17 Vanderbilt in an upset, and number 12 Kentucky easily handled Louisiana State University. Well, the U.S. Olympic Committee is not happy with the performance of our athletes this year at our Winter Games. A special review panel on America's Olympic movement has been formed with New York Yankee owner George Steinbrenner heading the group. Steinbrenner said this evening there are many aspects of the Olympic program which may be letting us down, but the American athletes can and should do better.
And I think that the purpose of the commission will be to look very seriously into how we use our funds, what with the competition coming from the foreign nations, the competition that they're giving us today, are we doing the best job we possibly can for our athletes?
The U.S. Olympic Committee said the commission will look at everything from training athletes and picking teams to the physical condition of school children. And one other quick Olympic note, the unbeaten Soviet hockey team shut out the host Canadian team tonight, 5-0. The Soviets notched their 6th consecutive victory in Calgary. And a jury has acquitted Minnesota quarterback Tommy Kramer on charges of driving while intoxicated. Kramer was arrested last July in Bloomington. In closing arguments today, the defense attorney contended that Bloomington police were waiting to catch Kramer drinking and driving. But the prosecutor said the quarterback made the wrong decision when he refused offers from the restaurant he was at to call a cab. After his arrest, Kramer underwent alcoholism treatment at the Hazelden Foundation in Center City, Minnesota. Kramer was arrested for a similar offense in Houston in 1980, underwent chemical dependency treatment in California 2 years later. So we'll just have to see what happens and how that affects his playing in the season upcoming.
All right, thanks, Keith. Still to come, the predicted water shortage this year has orchardists concerned about their crops. That story's next.
Get $500 cash back and save over $1,300 on Ford Aerostar. See why no other automaker sells more wagons than Ford. We're winning the Northwest over with quality.
We're winning the Northwest over and over, that's
If someone you love is having trouble putting down the bottle, maybe you should try picking up the phone. If you don't call, we can't help.
The Quadra Combustion design, an exclusive in Inland's Quadra-Fire wood stoves and fireplace inserts, burns in 4 separate areas of the stove and insert, exceeding Oregon 88 emission standards without use of expensive catalysts. They generate more heat output and a more complete burn. Quadra-Fire's wide heating range maintains efficiency and comes in 4 sizes, including a small insert for zero clearance fireplaces. Optional 24-karat gold-plated door available. See a personal demonstration of the Quadra-Fire from Central Washington's largest selection, Inland Dawning, for the leading clean burners of the future.
Irrigation districts in Yakima Valley are gearing up for operation with the threat of a short water supply troubling them. Rosa District water users met in Sunnyside today to assess the bleak conditions in that junior water district. As NewsBeat's John Rothland reports, as the available water supply is falling short, so are the solutions.
No new news was bad news for irrigators along the Rosa system. The pro-ratable district is still looking at operating at 40% of its entitlement from the point that storage control begins. The problem worsens when you consider that with below normal snowpack, storage control will probably begin sooner than normal, at which point not even water for frost control can be guaranteed.
We haven't yet gotten to the situation where there wasn't excess river flows through the entire frost season. So far that hasn't happened. The problem is potentially there this year. And obviously we're going to be running on fairly short supply when that happens, and you're going to be prorated like you normally are, with every acre getting an equal share.
District Manager Ron Van Gundy did admit that his prediction of a 60% proration would probably be wrong, but whether the season would shape up better or worse is anyone's guess. Some growers are now only concerned with saving their crop, and in spite of their potential for loss, owners of expensive perennial crops will be facing the same risks and same entitlements as annual row crop growers.
The guy next to you may have a row crop, but that's his livelihood too. The risk was put in by orchardists, and that's the risk they took. So we don't feel we can get into cropping patterns or changing the way we deliver water. We deliver it to the acre, and if you want to work something out with your neighbor, that's fine.
The district is looking at a 90 to 95-day irrigating season this year, but if things get worse, the threat of a temporary shutdown may present itself. But because water is expended by the shutdown process, Van Gundy says it would only be considered as a last resort. John Rothland reporting for NewsBeat.
Will the 1988 irrigating season be a repeat of 1977? That's a common question being asked these days in the agricultural community. The scare 11 years ago resulted in many orchardists, especially those with junior water rights, to seek new sources of water and implement conservation measures. TJ Close reports.
Faced with getting only 6% of his normal water supply in 1977, Zilla grower Charles De La Chapelle had 2 deep wells drilled to save his fruit trees. More than 600 Valley farmers applied for drilling permits that year alone. De La Chapelle believes the wells were a good, albeit expensive, investment. Even though Rosa Irrigation District growers would eventually receive 64% of their normal water supply that year, thanks to a miscalculation by the Reclamation Bureau, De La Chapelle's wells have been protection in other water-short years like 1987.
Up until this year, if it doesn't go dry, we're glad to have these wells.
Aside from the wells, since 1977, De La Chapelle has installed 3 large holding ponds. The on-site storage from his wells and the Rosa Canal system provides water for frost control and spraying. And De La Chapelle is turning to drip irrigation on 40 acres of his 350-acre orchard. Even though he has taken these steps to protect his investment, De La Chapelle continues to worry about the drop in the water table and its potential effect on his expensive wells. And he's discouraged that nothing has been done since the 1977 drought to enhance the local water picture.
Discouraging, it would seem we don't learn. I hope we can learn this time, but it's scary. If the trees don't get enough water, you know what happens.
Where will you put your efforts if there is not a lot of water forthcoming this year?
We've discussed it. We might prioritize the orchards we'd try to keep alive, or those on which we'd grow a crop.
And what does the future hold for Valley growers in the eyes of Charles De La Chapelle?
Until the numbers of trees are reduced, you have a potential for more burdensome crops. The supply is just too much. Everybody wants to be the survivor. We can't all be.
Wells are expensive and only supplement normal water sources for irrigation. De La Chapelle estimates that each year his orchard requires more than 10,000 gallons of water daily. Efforts to raise a sunken barge near Anacortes have been postponed again, this time to early Saturday morning. The State Ecology Department announced the one-day delay this evening. State officials say salvage crews decided on the change because of stronger tides and less time for easy diving than previously expected. The barge sank January 31st and has released an estimated 70,000 gallons of oil. About 345 gallons remain in the barge. Coast Guard officials say it should take 45 minutes to get the vessel to the surface, after which the oil will be pumped into other barges. If you ask crab fishermen in the area about the spill, you'll find they aren't very happy.
The Wotan and its heavy crane returned to the sunken barge site early this morning. The latest lift attempt is scheduled to start at 2 a.m. Friday when the tide begins to change and will last until noon when the dangerous currents return to Rosario Strait. The most favorable time will be 8 a.m. when the tide goes completely slack. This will be the longest diving window the salvage operation will get, the best shot for successfully raising the barge. But down at the docks, local crabbers and bottom fishermen are angry that the barge hasn't already been raised.
Well, I don't understand how they could turn the barge loose once they had a hold of it. And that is a real slap to the face of the people in Anacortes and the fishermen.
They worry about the worst and the over 300,000 gallons of oil still on board.
Well, they just hope that it doesn't break up on them when they go to lift it. That would be very sad.
Everybody's concerned about that.
If it does happen, it could be very, very tragic. We have oyster beds up the head of Samish Bay. That entire area is nothing but oysters. And that's death on wheels for those people.
If it's sunk, it'll just be all over the bottom. Fish won't go live on it. No way. It just ruins everything for... well, same thing, ask a farmer. If you went out and put it all over a field, all that oil, what could it grow?
There have been no official estimates of the damage done to crab beds by the 70,000 gallons already spilled and spread across the seafloor. But one crabber muttered under his breath that this was one of the best crabbing spots in the state, and he's not going to bother to drop his pots here anymore.
The hole that's been eating a backyard in the Bellevue area continues to get bigger. It's almost twice the size it was when it was discovered Sunday, and there are timbers floating in its muddy waters, remnants of an abandoned coal mine that was hidden under this property. 3 people have been renting this house, and King County has asked them all to leave for safety reasons. The responsibility of filling the hole now rests with the Federal Office of Surface Mining. It will find some way of reinforcing the home's foundation before it tries to cap the hole and seal off the mine for good. Legislation to avoid multi-million-dollar cost overruns in the state employee health insurance program drew fire at its first legislative hearing today. Union members were upset because the bill calls for the state workers to pay monthly premiums on top of higher deductibles and co-payments. The director of the Washington Federation of State Employees, Gary Moore, says he's also unhappy that the measure would abolish the state's Employees Insurance Board in favor of a cost-cutting board. He says the state job pay has been held down too, saying state employees are getting it from all sides. Sponsors of the bill say it's needed to solve a $100 million crisis in the state's employee health insurance program. The glitter of gold has been fading in recent weeks as prices have fallen. It's a trend that's likely to continue for a while, as we learn in this report from NewsBeat's Ken Crockett.
Finding a place to invest these days is not easy. Many people went to gold and other precious metals following the stock market crash last October, but now those prices are declining. After reaching nearly $500 an ounce on December 11th last year, gold has declined 14% and is now selling for $435. Many of the same factors that push gold prices up are now driving prices lower, according to Tom Mann of Ron's Coin and Bookstore in Yakima.
Usually gold and silver, precious metals, are it's a volatile time when there's problems with the economy or with the nation itself. And I feel that things are looking good. A lot of people are happy with the way things are sitting, and I think that has a lot to do with the way the market's dropping.
Gold prices were off $6.65 an ounce today, and silver fell by 12 cents. Mann foresees the downward trend continuing at least for a while.
And I think we could see gold slide into the high 300 mark. We could also see silver drop into the high $5 mark. We could see silver around 580, 590. I think we're going to continue to see it slide back just a little bit more. And I think towards the end of the year, then we'll see it turn around again.
Mann points out that with precious metals, a major world or national event could send prices skyrocketing upward almost overnight. This is Ken Crockett reporting for NewsBeat.
Get rid of cheatgrass in just one pass? That'll happen just about the time pigs grow wings. But with my cheatgrass gone, I could plant what I want to. Sure, when pigs grow wings.
Why till trip after trip before planting? Landmaster 2 herbicide at low rates with one seedbed tillage trip stops cheat and volunteer.
One pass with Landmaster got my cheatgrass. Kind of graceful, aren't they?
Landmaster 2 for better cheatgrass control in one pass.
Jeep is an official sponsor of the '88 U.S. Olympic team, and your Jeep Eagle dealer is celebrating with the Jeep Sales Event of the Year. Save up to $1,800 on a U.S. Olympic team edition of Jeep Comanche with an option discount package. Or save up to $1,800 on a select Jeep Cherokee. It's the 4x4 of the year again. Also check out factory cashback on Jeep Wagoneer and Grand Wagoneer. Drive one of America's winners. See your Pacific Northwest Jeep Eagle dealers where you can always expect the best.
You know where the best place is to buy Washington State Lottery tickets?
Washington!
Windfall. The bucks start here.
The Seattle-based Boeing company is bracing for more competition from Airbus Industries. That's a European company that builds the twin-engine jumbo jet. The squabble between Airbus and Boeing has been going on for 10 years now. Boeing says Airbus competes unfairly because it's subsidized by government. Airbus says that's no longer true. It competes for new business the same as Boeing, so it's been a standoff. But now the squabble threatens to land right in Boeing's backyard. Airbus says it may start producing a competitor to the 747 and 757 right here in the United States. Well, taking a look at our weather this evening, our temperature is 27 degrees. It's fair. Winds are out of the west at 10 miles per hour. Our high today was 55 degrees and our low was 21. Our forecast is calling for fair tonight with variable high clouds tomorrow through Friday. Our high should be 50 to 55 degrees. Our low should be 25 to 30. Our wind should be out of the west at 4 to 12 miles per hour, and unfortunately there is no precipitation in sight. Northwest conditions are calling for 48 degrees in Seattle, partly cloudy. Spokane is 28 and clear. Portland 47, partly cloudy. Tri-Cities 34, partly cloudy. Wenatchee 37, they have some clouds. Walla Walla 35, and they're cloudy too. Our past conditions look fairly good. Snoqualmie is 32 degrees with some scattered clouds, bare and dry with some ice in places. White is 34 and blue at 28. That's our evening news report. Thank you so much for joining us. For Keith and me, have a good evening.
Good evening.
America's winners are at your Chrysler Plymouth dealers now. Get our biggest cash back ever. $2,500 cash back on Chrysler New Yorker Turbo. $1,500 cash back on Chrysler LeBaron Coupe. Or $1,000 cash back on Chrysler Fifth Avenue. Let your Chrysler Plymouth dealer make you one of America's winners.
See your local Northwest Chrysler Plymouth dealer today.
Father, I have a sin to confess.
At breakfast.
I love my bran cereal.
That's not a sin, my son.
It must be. Nobody likes bran cereal.
This is no ordinary bran cereal. It's Bran Chex, made with corn. It's crispy and light.
Bran Chex tastes so good, it can't be good for you.
There are some mysteries in life, my son, that are simply not explainable. Just enjoy.
Crispy, light Bran Chex brand cereal. Tastes so good, it must be a sin.